Hello and welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. We're at episode 860. This is being recorded on March 18, 2026. I'm Sebastian Peak.
This is Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
This is Brett Van Spruenberg.
And I'm Kent Burgess.
And I just realized that my fingers are in frame because I have the wrong lens. I wanted my 30 and this is the 15. So you can see me steepling my fingers like some sort of a creep. And I apologize for that. Brett, can you please tell us about some of the amazing people that we need to thank? Although I think Terrible Cook is on here. Second show in a row?
I know. I just really enjoyed the name. I just went through a few and I said, oh, that's a very cool alias, very cool name. I'm like, Terrible Cook? Thank you so much. And I know Josh had a personal message for you last week, but I did pick out a few others. Seven Hells. Thought that one was just on point. Tex Murphy. I don't know. Just
oh, come on. Say it right.
Which one?
Tex Murphy.
Tex Murphy. 84 Sporty. Also, that's one word in case anybody's wondering. And Dr. F, although they actually spelled out their entire doctor. But yeah, and the last name was two letters. But anyway, yeah, Dr. F. I just like the names. I just wanted to thank you folks for contributing and staying with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And Josh, please tell me that in the last 2 weeks, you ate something noteworthy and took photographs.
A picture? I did. And it's the Chicago-ish dog from the place. It's a 1/4 pound wiener. And it's covered with all of the good things. Plenty of mustard. Those porcino peppers, I think they're called. Relish. Those, yeah, but those are homemade pickles, by the way. Tomato, some onions in there, little celery salt. It was outstanding. It was a really good dog. And the fries, they've changed fries again. And these were really good. Nice, pillowy on the inside, good crunch on the outside. They seasoned it nicely. So, I mean, they could have maybe cooked it a little bit longer, but otherwise they're fantastic. So, yeah, it's a locally sourced hot dog and super tasty, super dense, as all hot dogs should be.
Left a little bit of the wiener skin exposed towards the forward part.
We're not talking about that.
Moving on to the most important news story of the week, obviously, DLSS 5. It delivers AI-powered breakthrough in visual fidelity for games, says NVIDIA. Now, some have accused NVIDIA of being out of touch, tone deaf, AI slop, things like that. But if you look at it, it looks like some kind of crazy AI filter is being used on this otherwise rather normal-looking game engine person.
One is a person and one is Instagram filters.
So,
in essence,
if you think about it from the technical standpoint of what they're doing here, it's very impressive. I know Josh was talking about that a little bit on Twitter, I think, the last couple of days. Interesting and powerful technology. Powerful, by the way, is an understatement. We'll talk about that shortly, about the kind of compute or GPU required to make this work.
The thing that is interesting about this all to me is that we don't know very much about it at all. There's been no white paper on it. It's still pretty much a black box, and we don't always know what it does. And the developers said there's a lot of knobs and levers that they can pull on this and kind of optimize it for, kind of their vision. And whether or not this comes through and is a workable thing we don't know. We just don't know. But people are really angry about it. They think that this is going to be a thing that they can't turn off, and NVIDIA is pushing this on us, and it's pushing it on developers. And I've seen one developer that is, not happy with them, but I've seen others that are like, well, this allows me to get closer to my vision a lot easier because it's a tool that I can adjust all of these things. and get the results I want far easier than with, like the usual UE5, huge amount of tools and things that then you can apply to it. And long and short of it for me is we don't know enough to be able to say, is this a good thing or not? I mean, the results, if you kind of go through the scenes, especially the scenes without people, you can really see a great improvement in just kind of the subtle differences in lighting that make it really pop out and make it look maybe not always so realistic, but it makes it look better than the usual. I mean, the worst case scenario I saw was when they applied it to Oblivion Remastered and it looked like a freak show. But some of the other ones that had kind of more regular scenes, and the Resident Evil one is the one that they've really have pushed. But I've seen other examples that in my opinion looked far better, like the Starfield stuff. The gal just sitting at the table. I mean, her face had added depth and kind of complexity. It didn't look like an Instagram, but it was better. And I mean, Starfield's not the greatest example out there because it's kind of a crappy game, but the art assets that they have applied to Starfield are incredible. I mean, if you ever walk through there, it's just like there is no place that is not touched by some artistic endeavor. I mean, it's a dense looking game, even though it's kind of not a fun game at all. But
even though it's really, really empty.
Yeah. And as Sebastian had mentioned, this currently in the state that it's running was running on 2 RTX 5090s, and those were both in the same computer and pulling some insane amount of power. And they claim that by fall they'll be able to get it to run on a single card, but will it be a single card that most people can afford?
No.
Yeah.
And no one can afford a card right now.
So, I mean, a lot of people are really, really up in arms. I mean, so much so that people are sending death threats to Digital Foundry because they did a big video on this, and there are people saying this is all AI slop and you should die. And it's like, can people just take a step back for a minute and say that, one, it's not a finished product. 2, we don't know much about it other than what we have seen. We don't have a large amount of developers that have told us what it's doing and what they like and what they dislike about it. So, I mean, it could be a terrible thing. It could be an unusable thing. But I don't think that, especially AMD providing the technology for 2 next generation consoles, that DLSS is going to be forced upon us because developers just they are not going to give away those console sales. So I'm a little bit more, stand back and let's see, but there's some people who are, I mean, furious. I mean, just really, I've gotten some messages that are strongly worded, but yeah, death threats to Digital Foundry, that's not
good. That was a bit.
Yeah. Adam Patrick Murray of PC World actually got to attend the tech demo for this. And he actually had some more detail about it than I'd really heard elsewhere, because Jensen's presentation on stage was 3 minutes, where he, basically told a bunch of Jensenisms and flashed his new iguana skin jacket. But essentially, from what Adam was told, it's sort of doing 2 things. One is it's doing a lot of what they're calling generational AI with the path tracing of the lighting. And then the other there's a lot of filters and things for the models that the coders, the game developers can turn on or off. They don't have to use them. And these games that they presented, NVIDIA actually they used the tools and developed these showcases themselves and then presented them to the game studios to say, hey, can we show this? And apparently, like, Capcom went back and forth with them a lot on it. Personally, a lot of the models I saw, I really didn't care for the look of. I did like the Starfield model a little better. The Resident Evil models looked like they were just cover paintings from a romance novel to me. The thing that really got me about this is the next story. So I'll let Sebastian get into that before I go into a real rant.
Okay, because I was going to complain.
You can go ahead and complain. I was just going to show you that you're wrong because if you're a gamer, you're completely wrong about DLSS 5, says Jensen Huang.
It is not generative AI.
The NVIDIA CEO responded to the DLSS backlash. Here's a story at Tom's Hardware about it. And he says artistic control remains with developers. So obviously, if you don't like what's happening with Resident Evil.
So the feature is that you can turn it off? That's the benefit of DLSS 5 is that you can turn it off?
I don't think whenever there's a conflict that it's a good idea to tell the other party that they're wrong. Completely wrong.
I mean, you're wrong about that, but
the other party's going to get defensive and attack you even more.
That part really ticked me off because anytime someone is saying, you don't know what you want, I know much better what you want than you do. It's condescending. It's terrible. So anyway.
So what he's saying is this new version of DLSS really just grants the artist's original intention. It's what they would have wanted if they could have gotten there. That's what he's saying.
I'm hoping there's going to be some sliders.
Handcrafted rendering with generative AI to deliver a dramatic leap in visual realism. It's bridging the cinematic gap. It's not truly generative AI. It's generative AI with extra steps.
But he's implying that the creativity still remains with the artist.
Yes.
Saying that this was their intent anyway. We're just hoping them realized it.
If it didn't suck, this is the way it'd look.
I think if it takes two 5090s to make the girl in Resident Evil look like somebody with an Instagram beauty filter, then it's probably not going to be in wide use at launch.
Yeah, and you're right. If we compare it to the Instagram beauty filter, that just takes a handheld phone from 5 years ago. So it's could be
this is what terrifies me about
it. If you want this look, get a phone from 5 years ago and watch your games through the phone.
Yes.
And play.
That's not bad.
There you go.
Josh wants to talk.
One of the arguments that I saw kind of for it, because it's doing a lot of stuff in the background, especially one is subsurface scattering. Now, we've had subsurface scattering as kind of a shader component for a long time, but it hasn't been done very well because to do it accurately is really, really hard. And to get it naturally looking, it just is hard. And because it's the AI, it does what it thinks is an approximation and applies that approximation without doing all of the big cycles behind to get a very accurate, kind of subsurface scattering type shader effect. And apparently it does it for a lot cheaper and a little bit more realistic because, it's trained on what that looks like through all these different materials. And instead of having to do the complex computations, it just says, okay, if the effects are like this and we've got this material, this is what the best looking output is. And apparently it's not as, performance hogging inducing. But of course, this is what they're telling us. We have not seen any real benchmarks. No third party has gotten to, play with this. And again, 25090s.
Right, that you can't benchmark it because you can't run two 5090s together in a game. So Another example of a trade show demo that is not something that a user can reproduce anytime in the next couple of years.
But this is what terrifies me. Jensen is not often wrong. Generally, he has been right his entire career, which is why he is where he is right now. But the insanity of the LLM market right now and the amount of money that NVIDIA is raking in makes me worry that he's sort of come to the conclusion that no, the average gamer can, well, maybe not the average gamer, but the enthusiast can totally afford two 5090s and SLI 2.0. And maybe we'll combine it onto one card for $11,000. Maybe you'll have to buy two at $6,000 a piece. And just sort of lost that connect with what we can actually afford. And is thinking that this will be a reasonable next gen after next card for gamers.
Well, again, to reiterate what they said is it should be available in fall and will run on a single card. But again, that detail of
is
what
it
a single card is, we don't know. Probably not. Wait,
guys,
who has a 1650?
NVIDIA. It's really cheap.
Yeah, my dad. Yeah, it's the cheap, no power one.
You're thinking inside the box. Think outside the box. Think outside of the home. Think outside of your PC enclosure. It's going to be the cloud, Josh. They're going to have this rendering power in GeForce Now. You don't need to worry about having a system that can actually do this. You just need to pay for the premium DLSS 5 tier.
Yeah, how much will 25090s and SLI version 2.0 cost me to rent per month?
It's just,
how much is your house?
Yeah, I mean, if I have to ask, I don't see the value in it, and I'm wrong.
This is the holodeck, Jeremy. It's more real than real.
Okay, now I'm worried I'm going to see Riker in your window because he does the holodeck.
Some people would be really excited about that. Okay.
Including Sebastian.
No, it was my sister that liked him, not me. Okay, moving on. A story from Tech Power Up. We got to talk about the Intel Arrow Lake refresh. Officially announced by Intel, it's coming soon. I don't remember the exact date, if that's even been announced, but Arrow Lake refresh, it's only going to have Core Ultra 5 and Core Ultra 7. Core Ultra 7 270K Plus is basically a 285K. It has the same P-core and E-core count. It is slightly different because it doesn't have the 285K's thermal velocity boost algorithm. So it tops out at 5.5 instead of 5.7 gigahertz. But they did some adjustments to L3 cache, and it has higher memory speed support. Like it has native DDR5 7200 support. In some ways, it's better. It actually has the same L3 cache. It was the Core Ultra 5 that gained L3 cache from the 245K to the 250K plus. It's almost the same product as last year, but now we're not calling it a Core Ultra 9, we're calling it a Core Ultra 7. And from what I heard,
say they could have made an Ultra 9 version if they wanted, but it didn't make sense?
If they wanted to, they could have, but I don't know what that would have looked like if that just was they're up against a power limit here. I think this is by default a 250 watt PL1 and PL2 if you do Intel defaults, just like the 285K. If you're running the same core count on the same architecture at roughly the same clock speeds and the Core Ultra 7 has the same L3 cache, I don't know where any additional performance is going to come from, but we'll see. Maybe there are some optimizations and I think something to do with maybe some process tech advancements with the way their tiled architecture is working this generation. But
if the optimizations that they've announced are accurate, the performance benefits from these at the prices they're selling these out, especially the 250K, it's sort of a compelling option in that lower end processor, especially if gaming is not your main focus. Of course, I still don't know where you're going to get RAM, but at $199, that's not a bad price for a processor that's going to perform like that.
You're absolutely right. And I should have mentioned the price right up front because they're basically selling a 285K level or even faster for $299 with the Core Ultra 5 at $199. So this is slightly tweaked.
But when RAM
architecture.
costs 5 to 10 times as much as that, what's
Yeah,
the
you could say
point?
that about AMD AM5. too.
Yeah, I will.
There's just no way around that. I'm not interested in any of these as a recommendation for anybody I know right now because I'm not going to ever tell somebody to spend $400 on 32 gigs of RAM. But
Right.
if you've got the RAM, it's interesting.
Hold on to it and sell it.
Yeah, exactly. Sell it and pay your car payment this month, and then
Yeah.
now AMD is not just going to sit on their laurels and wait while Intel refreshes their desktop CPUs. So, according to this report at videocards.com, they are preparing a Ryzen 7 refresh. That's a Ryzen 7 9750X and Ryzen 5 9650X with 120 watt TDPs.
Aren't they
That's more
currently?
watts.
The 97 is a 65 watt. Yeah. So
Yeah.
double almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was always the thing holding those things back. If you look at the core counts and the architecture, obviously the L3 cache is, this is not an X3D part we're talking about here, but still 32 megs of L3. That's the same as what Intel is offering with this refreshed Core Ultra 7. Oh, maybe, no, that's 36. What am I saying? Anyway, price to be determined, but more power equals higher performance.
More clock.
Yeah.
Better.
This is depressing, unless you're a big NVIDIA fan, and who isn't
What
right now? It's very
isn't?
trendy. Just ask Steve at Gamers Nexus. It's very trendy to be pro NVIDIA right now. It's just deeply sarcastic.
Steve is doing a lot of trendy things right now, honestly.
He's not a huge NVIDIA fan. Let's just put it that way. PC Gamer has a report here. Gamers are buying fewer graphics cards, according to a new research report, though NVIDIA is doing better than ever. They have approximately 94% market share compared to AMD's 5%. Now, I want to caution you right now, anybody who's going to leave an angry comment or is just yelling at their car right now as they drive down the road listening to our podcast.
Well, first
No, I
off,
don't
those
think that-
percentages are wrong.
Well, the 94% is not going to be reflected in a Steam hardware survey, partly because of the rise in enthusiasm over handheld systems such as the Steam Deck, which are AMD powered. So if you look at discrete GPU sales, supposedly it is 94%. If you're talking about the stuff that came built into your handheld or is in a gaming system or whatever, obviously there's a lot more AMD there.
Nah, sounds biased.
It is biased. The market is biased. The average person on the street is biased. They buy NVIDIA.
You're biased.
The
Oh, I love how over the last year, NVIDIA has become a household name.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, have you ever heard of this
Sebastian's not
company,
biased, by
NVIDIA?
the way. He's not biased. He's not biased.
the number one company in the world, like by market share, or what is it? Market capitalization.
Yeah.
It's suddenly people are listening to everything Jensen says. And does.
Well, I guess at Mind Factory, they released the last couple of weeks, and fully 25% of all sales was just the 9070 XT.
It's incredible what happens over at Mind Factory. A bunch of AMD
Yeah, it is.
faithful in Germany
The
buying
pulse,
AMD stuff.
the pulse of the nation.
Right.
Yes.
Well, at AMD fan site, mindfactory.com, you can't believe how many Ryzen and Radeon sales they have. Let's move on before we make everybody mad. GTC in space. The Space
That was
One
good.
Ooh, well done.
Vera Rubin
was good.
module. Please tell me what this is, Jeremy.
Well, I mean, we've heard of a lot about Vera Rubin, if you were following GTC at all. And generally, these are, rack-designed entire systems with that giant, sexy, pure copper NVLink backbone. They consume an immense amount of power, but they chew through stuff and tokens and everything at an unbelievable rate. But there's been a lot of talk that, the next frontier in data centers will be space, because, and that's where it falls apart if you've ever played Kerbal Space or Terra Invicta, or just, generally understand the nature of space, which is Technically, yes, on average it is cold, but it's an insulator because there's nothing to pass the heat onto. And when you're talking about low Earth orbit, you can be in direct sunlight and well over 200 degrees Celsius. So dumping heat is really difficult. It's non-trivial, as the rocket scientists say. And there's the fact that it costs an amazing amount of money to lift weight into orbit. So you've got to be able to get something that is going to perform at a level that makes it financially viable to launch into space. But doesn't stop the venture capitalists, because nothing does at this point. If they can find a way to make money, or at least suck money out of someone, they will. And so Space One Vera Rubin modules are designed to be sent up into orbit to do LLM tasks and perhaps data center tasks while spinning around there. And I don't think that it's an accident that they didn't really provide any technical details on Space One. We got lots of technical details on Vera Rubin, how much it's going to consume, what the cooling is, what sort of power it can do, how much better it is than the previous generation, and just that, sexy combination of GPU and CPU that I've got no way of ever affording it, and honestly no tasks that it would be worthy of, but I still love the idea. Very, very slim on the details for Space One, because how are you going to get something
so much has not been worked out,
right?
Yeah.
Oh, and I skipped the bit flipping. Cosmic rays. That used to be an issue down here. Up there? God. So now you're shipping shielding around it, which also has
and what it requires a 4 kilometer square solar array to power what they're thinking about, and then that's not even, and they're not even.
So the heat fins are going to be bigger than that,
probably. But this is all pie in the sky stuff, and I think it's going to go down in flames because there's not really a use case for it for most.
Yeah, I think a Raspberry
far better
Pi
off
make it into the sky first.
Yes, you're far better off submerging the data center pods into the ocean and using the natural coolness down there and heat exchange. A pressurized nitrogen environment that these things are running in, so there's no fire. Apparently, when Microsoft tested that a couple of years back, they also found far fewer. No, it went great. They had far fewer hardware issues in that test platform than in their regularly. It's the one off Scotland.
Didn't they power that one with wave action as well?
No. It was there's offshore wind, but it took the power from the shoreline. So it was great.
Doing brilliant with this, because not only did Bruichladdich, with all of their waste heat from the distillery, start heating public swimming pools and stuff, they have several data centers that are literally hooked in to the public hot water systems. So if you've got a giant building that needs warm water provided, that's what they're using the waste heat from the data center to do. Closed loop. This makes sense. Sorry, Josh, you just reminded me of something that I thought was appropriate.
No, I'm done.
But launching these into space it's ridiculous. I mean, do it as a proof of concept, just to say, hey, we do it, and make sure that you send a Rastafarian up there, because some people have read Neuromancer, I'm sure. But overall, it's just, it's a solution looking for a problem that doesn't exist, and
it's BS.
Will only make things worse.
Is one person,
but someone will buy it. Oh, don't worry, okay. They'll give them money.
All right. Speaking of giving people money in large quantities, Tech Power Up has this story: the top 5 enterprise SSD vendors. I hope you're sitting down. They have posted over a 50% quarter-on-quarter revenue growth, with SK Group leading this growth trend. Now, isn't it amazing? Samsung, SK, Hynix, Solidigm, Micron, Kioxia, and SanDisk all just raking in the cash as they continue to charge exorbitant fees. I don't know if it's the price increases that we've seen or just the added demand from those enterprises that are willing to pay top dollar for all of the NAND,
Well,
making
yes
it
to
almost
both of
impossible
those.
for us to buy reasonably priced 1 and 2 terabyte NVMe drives anymore, and just forget about 4 terabytes and up, because that's just crazy.
Well, apparently Micron just
Kioxia
announced
pretending
their
to be
first.
affordable.
Go, Josh.
Apparently, Micron just announced their latest today for the first quarter, and they're up something like 81% in 2 quarters.
Yeah.
And their margins were 76%.
Margins of 76%. It's good if you can get it.
That's NVIDIA
Yeah.
margin.
Yeah.
So come on, PC Perspective fans, step up here. We'd like to try and experience this lifestyle.
Yeah, let me look at in-stock 2 terabyte NVMe drives on Newegg.com. Here's a 990 Pro for just $395.
Ouch.
Here's a King spec for $271.99. Ooh, 9100 Pro. That's even faster. $419.08.
Buy those King specs. You'll be able to sell them for half again the price in a week.
Platinum P51. I feel like I remember when this was a $200 drive. $419.99.
That was at a low of 176 when things were back in August.
How are they having such an amazing quarter? It's just unfathomable.
How are they doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This PC building hobby, it might be only for the well-heeled.
Yeah, it's become...
They have essentially destroyed it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to end up more expensive, RAM or gasoline?
RAM. Come on.
RAM.
Gasoline for your RAM.
Gas-powered PCs are probably not a good idea right now. Sorry, generator enthusiasts. All right. Finally, some good news for Copilot 365 victims. This sounds like a leading title.
Good news, everyone.
Copilot 365.
Oh no, if you spent any sort of money on an Office 359 license, you got Copilot. You like it or not. It just shoehorned itself into your system and gave you almost all the stuff of the full featured Copilot that people actually pay for. Because yes, you can pay Microsoft to infect you with even better Copilot than you get that you don't want. And in the European Economic Area, it was decided that no, you cannot shoehorn in AI into this product. That, hey, we're not comfortable with you bundling Edge with the OS. And so they had to figure out a way to not do that. And it looks like after all of these negative comments and sysadmins constantly making tickets saying, hey, we've got legal agreements saying that you can't harvest our clients' data, and we depend on you to provide us with the tools to block your AI agent from coming into our systems. And here it is again. And Microsoft, okay, well, we'll try and figure something out in a week or two. We'll push out a new tool for you to be able to block it from coming in. And then suddenly realize that, oh, wow, we've had several hundred tickets from several very large accounts screaming at us that we need to be able to provide them with a way to block our invasive tool from harvesting their clients' data. And so suddenly have to, within the next day, oh, look, here's the new options to block Copilot from coming in through this particular crack. We opened up 3 more, but don't mention that.
So
it became a
distill down
nightmare.
the good news. The good news is, in some cases, you can shed it off now for certain cases.
But by default, it is no longer being pushed to Windows installations.
I see.
Because that was the best part about it. It was malignant. It was sort of benign in that it was there. And
strong term.
It didn't turn into malignancy until you installed an Office 359 product. But the second you did, it's already installed in your system and away it goes. Until then, it was benign and just sitting on the system waiting.
I didn't even bring in the
Hoping.
one where it was clickjacking and automatically opening itself for
Yes.
URL references and stuff like that. I didn't even bother talking about that one yet.
Oh no, that one.
Yeah, it's
and
invasive.
besides, they're trying to figure out why it is
Yeah.
that people don't like when you click on a web link. I expect
Why
the
am I
browser
getting-
to open it, but yet
Why did
all of a
Copilot
sudden I've got
open?
an AI opening it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just harvested all your data on that too. And thank you for entering your password. We'll remember that.
Oh yes, everything you just did, we will remember it for
sorry.
you wholesale.
We're really getting ahead of ourselves. The format here just threw me.
No, it's the same bloody
Yeah.
freaking thing. But the good news is, it's no longer shoved down your throat. You actually have to say, yes, sir, I would like some more.
Hmm.
There is also the flip side of this, which it actually might be a financial thing, because Microsoft execs are really upset that no one's paying for the full flavored version of Copilot for Office 365. And so they're cutting us off until we give them money to have it come back, which I'm sure is going to go well for them.
Stay tuned for more like this in Insecurity Corner. Next. But no, next we're actually going to get back to the news. Just really briefly, if you are a fan of all that Brown can do for you,
You mean UPS?
and maybe you have a soft spot for Antec cases. They were the case for a while back in the day. What about the Antec Flux Pro Noctua Edition Ultra Quiet PC case? I got this press release in email, and I just had to add it to the show notes because
Say no more. Say no more.
it's got brown accents on black.
This is so
It's
well
got
dressed. Well
Noctua
dressed.
fans on the intake and exhaust.
My kid's got one of those cases. It's actually really good. Not the Noctua edition, but the Antec. It's nicely built, and the wood finishing it's attractive.
I like how they put brown for those.
The cable
The
pass
grommets,
through.
yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cable grommets. That looks.
I'm
so
going to
good.
need some time alone. I'll be in my bunk.
It's more brown than I thought it was going to be. From the initial pictures, I thought it was just this wood accent on the front, but it's got brown around the side. It's just
If brown is your
Did they-
thing, that is the case.
Did they put
Yeah.
a price on it?
Can
I
you
don't know.
though?
I don't know what the price is.
Perhaps
Does
they-
it
It's
matter?
going to be
Do
something
prices
else.
even matter anymore?
Jeremy,
It's all just-
what did you say a little while ago? If you have to ask,
Yeah.
Right.
It's probably going to be under $200. So
With those
not
fans?
horrible,
No.
not great. 3.2 Ronkin.
Right. But to save money and buy nice things like that case, obviously, one of the options is just to dummy up one of your RAM slots. So
Yeah, skimp.
if you buy from V-Color, for example, this RAM kit, it has one 24 gigabyte DIMM and one that is
Oh,
just an
God. I'm having
RGB
deja vu.
dummy module.
You know, it's not
So you-
just V-Color, Sebastian. It's not. Scroll
Okay.
down.
Other companies?
No, Corsair
yes.
did this years ago.
Oh, was that a Corsair set? Couldn't
No, that's-
couldn't see it. As
I'm
it went
pretty
by.
sure it was Corsair. No, I'm talking at least 7-8 years ago when RGB
Yeah,
first
Gig-
came in.
Gigabyte,
Gigabyte
did
did
it
this,
where
yeah.
it was
That's right.
two
Oh, it was Gigabyte.
two. Yeah, it was two RAM modules and then
Right.
two.
That was just to make it, you wanted to
pillars.
fill out the RAM slots. But
Yeah, it was shiny.
to have one real and one fake,
I don't know. You know, back RAM bus days, you had to have the Terminator DIMM.
right?
Yeah.
That continuity dim, or you'd have
Let's just go back. Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
Hey,
in
can I pay
AMD
those prices again,
systems,
too?
some are saying this is actually reasonably performant, and that the dual DIMMs didn't really help.
You know what will help is making more motherboards DDR4 capable. So MSI is apparently planning on tackling their most challenging year since the company was founded. This is a quote from a PC Gamer article. By maybe going in and creating more DDR4 capable motherboards. Obviously, certain
Well,
chipsets will not support this, but there are chipsets like H610 that do. You can even get a Z790 with DDR4 support if you look for it. If you're willing to go, Team Blue, I guess, for your CPU. But Desperate times.
Hey, going back to the Antec, you're right. It was way more than 200. It was $400 that you can
Oh
buy
my
now.
goodness. Okay.
Wow.
You gotta get the dummy RAM.
That's too much.
The dummy
Gotta
RAM.
get
Yeah,
the
those
RAM.
fans are like $30 a piece retail.
If even. Usually they're higher. Yeah, that's why I knew that case would be expensive. But considering I retrofit most of my cases with Noctua fans anyways, I'm still paying the price. It's just
True.
I don't have to screw with them.
Right. Don't spend 200 on a case and then another 200 on fans. Just spend 400 and be done with it. It's saving you time, and time is money.
Well, no, I spent 100 on a case and then
Oh, okay. That's more
an
reasonable.
obnoxious amount on fans.
You know what? We should pause right now for a word from this week's podcast sponsor.
I thought AI would help me write faster or answer emails more quickly. What I didn't expect was how much quieter my workday would feel. AI started helping me sort things out, summarizing notes, classifying requests, flagging what actually mattered. That was useful, but on its own, it was still just insight. Then the real shift came when those decisions stopped living only in my head. That's where Zapier comes in. Zapier is how you can actually bring AI into your work and not just talk about it. You use AI exactly where it makes sense, inside real workflows, and Zapier handles everything that comes next. Nothing happens just once anymore. A form gets filled out, a payment comes in, code gets pushed. It doesn't stop there. Zapier makes it fan out automatically. Tasks get created, updates go out, systems stay in sync. We use our favorite models to help decide what something is, summarize it, route it, prioritize it. Zapier orchestrates those decisions across all the tools we already use. There's no complex setup, just connections that work. The biggest difference now, I don't have to remember to do things anymore. If something needs to happen, it's already wired. My brain is for decisions now, not just follow-ups. And for a teeny team, that changes everything. We move faster and drop nothing. Stay focused while the work keeps flowing in the background. Less AI hype, more results. That's Zapier, the system between everything. Teams have already automated over 300 million AI tasks using Zapier. Ready to join them? Get started for free by visiting zapier.com/PC Perspective. That's ZAPIER.com/PC Perspective.
Welcome to Insecurity Corner, your weekly reason to drink.
And our first story comes from Ars Technica. Researchers disclose vulnerabilities in IP KVMs from 4 manufacturers.
So yeah, an IP KVM is usually used in the workspace, but occasionally people use them at home because they're cheap. Some of them are very cheap, $30 to $100. And you could have remote access that grants remote capabilities that get right down into the BIOS or firmware so that you can do reboots, talk to the operating system remotely, just not on the box that may be having a problem. So these are very, very useful for remote sysadministration. In fact, it's just downright necessary in most cases. Unfortunately, there's a handful of them that are providing vulnerabilities that allow malware, bad actors to walk right in. So there's a list here from Jet KVM, SciSpeed, Egnet, YISO, and GLINet, for instance, that are all susceptible to this problem. Now, some of those are going to get patched, but the ones from Agneet or Anjeet and YISO, no patch for them yet. So if your organization is running remote IP KVMs, you're gonna, and that's the manufacturer, you're gonna want to dump those right away. Turn them off.
Jeez, that reminds me. Did
What?
Dell ever fix that baseboard management controller vulnerability? Or do they just force us to buy new systems?
I would suspect, like any big company, would just ignore the problem and force you to buy something new.
Yeah, I think that's the way they went. But yeah. So don't expect these to be effectively patched quickly.
Some of them have a patch, but once you understand that they didn't cover some of the bases, the basics, and some of these weren't properly covered on some of these $30 to $100 devices, you might want to not trust their patch, get something else, maybe spend a little more. I don't know. That doesn't even guarantee either. So I don't know what to say about this.
And don't worry, these are definitely not used in data centers. So
I'm sure they are.
Cool.
All right, moving on. Here's a story about a major Windows security certificate expiring in June. Check if your PC is ready.
Well, Microsoft ain't, because this is the first time it's ever happened to them.
They did start
They
pushing
literally have
updates
no idea what they're doing.
In January. They did
Yeah,
like
They were
11, 24
optional,
each.
and
Yeah, you're right.
they were optional updates, which did not get pushed out unless you opted in, which is why the vast majority of companies on the planet are probably at least 90% non-compliant and unready for this. But don't worry. I mean, your system will still boot. And it probably won't even tell you that your secure boot isn't secure anymore. Because, Microsoft does like to help out its customers in a certain definition of help. But yeah, we've decided to expire certs a lot more than we used to. 6 months is a giant pain in the ass and shouldn't be a thing, but this is why there's a whole new infrastructure and businesses of auto-renewable certs. But Microsoft can't do that because they need to have a secure boot key for every motherboard.
This certificate in particular was an early cert. I believe it was, if I remember correctly, it was shipped in other versions of Windows, and it's now nearing its 15-year age. Yes. So it wasn't a 6-month renewable. Okay. They don't usually certificates. It's difficult to get them, or I don't know. You got to kind of run your own, I guess, in order to get them with that amount of time.
Yeah, but usually you're doing a cert for a website or SSL or something like that.
Yep.
You're not
an API
signing the motherboard because it is actually anyone who's played with Bazzite will know if you've got secure boot, you need to feed it a key manually, and it updates a chip on the motherboard. So this is definitely not going to be an ingress for a bunch of horrible things in the very near future where they're saying, hey, your secure boot key is about to expire. Please click here to update it. So yeah, there's a variety of ways to update it. But this is going to go horribly.
One of the problems is Windows 10. If you're not on the paid update path with Windows 10, you're not getting it. So you will automatically be opted out, so to speak, if you're relying on this in any way with Windows 10, if you're not on the paid upgrade path.
And for those that don't care, Battlefield 6 and what was the other one that wanted secure boot?
There are a couple, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of games that the anti-cheat require valid secure boot. So, Windows 10 has been wonderful. And depending on the game you play, you may suddenly find yourself unable to launch it because you're non-compliant, and that will be your operating system. So go to Bazzite.
But I can't play Fortnite on Linux.
Oh, no.
All right, here's something really unfortunate, because if you're one of those people who's resisted updating your iOS device because you don't want liquid glass on your phone, there's a little thing called Dark Sword, which is making the rounds, all the news about iOS 18 vulnerable to this. Now you're going to have to update to iOS 26 just to be safe.
I know.
And then have a horribly unusable device. So
I went back and forth on including this one, but Sebastian, I thought of you with the whole, as you say, glass such as. And with the, no thank you for the upgrade beyond 18, now you're kind of like going to really have to grit your teeth and go, I really think I need to upgrade.
I think you have to grit your teeth and get an Android phone instead with its monthly security updates.
Yeah, there was a reason for that too, It's a very problematic OS as well in many ways. But what OS isn't?
No, there were 3 Apples over the last 2 weeks. Including one that did the original iPad 2 in that.
That's true. Yeah, there was another one that they patched. They had to patch a really old one.
Oh, I see.
I didn't want to make
and then there's a huge WebKit flaw that they haven't fixed, or at least are pushing it out.
They did fix that one. It is being pushed.
18.7.
So don't worry, Apple is completely secure. It's only had 3 patches in the last 2 weeks, some of which will go back to 10-year-old hardware.
Yeah, but they're definitely fixed now. Okay, I'm sorry, Sebastian. Go ahead.
Here's the problem. 18.7.3 and higher have been patched against the threat. Great. Try to get that on your phone because it's just going to tell you to update to iOS 26.
You can't. I remember the day this happened because I was going to upgrade to the latest version of iOS 18. And I was like, I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, one day. And then I went to look for it and it was gone.
The same situation happened at home because I wanted my wife to update to the latest version of 18 before it was too late. She did not. And then that was the only option I saw available to her. And she won't. She doesn't want iOS 26 after seeing my phone and seeing all the complaining I've been doing. So she's probably vulnerable right now. So hopefully she doesn't try to download weird things from links.
From Ukraine.
Yeah.
Or any place, really.
Next, from PC Mag, did a Steam game give your PC malware? The FBI wants to know.
Show us where the Steam game touched you. So, a series of indie games have been discovered with, sharp intake of breath, malware. Free-to-play games such as Pirate Fee or Fi and Chemia, Block Blasters, either were themselves infected with malware immediately on download. They actually had a payload inside them, or were remotely updated once they were installed to download malware. Now, these have been found and have been removed or patched out, but they haven't found everything.
Yeah.
Right. So there's probably going to be
100% of them totally removed. They're never coming back.
That's probably not
safe
true
now.
So, like I said, a lot of these were some indie games, but people have been seriously financially harmed simply by downloading them. But Valve has emailed you or the people and said, oh, hey, by the way, you might have been infected by something you downloaded on Steam.
Yeah,
so
sorry, bud.
Get rid of that. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. You should probably uninstall it.
Yeah, you should probably
don't ask us for help.
Seek professional help, and you might want to check your identity. And if you do have a crypto wallet, it's probably empty. Sorry. Anyway, so
Steam points.
Here's some Steam tokens. But the FBI kind of wants to know. I don't know why yet, but they want to know, where did the indie Steam game touch you badly? Did it hurt you?
I think General Stone in the chat is on to the category of games that might have been affected by this the most. But
I don't know. Those are the names of them. I don't know what kind of games they were, to be honest with you. I was just rattling them
probably
off.
not safe.
Well, the kind of games I think that you'd expect to infect you. Just in a more traditional sense.
Don't click on that link. Stop infecting yourself. This is another case of that.
It's your behavior online that's causing the problem, guys.
You'll go online. Boys, wear a hat.
You'll get hair on your palms.
Made of foil. Okay, let's move on. Here's another PC Mag story. The U.S. helps shut down proxy service used to hack thousands of routers.
Yeah, while this is a good news story in a way, it's just sort of sad the state this was in. So there's this proxy service called SOX Escort, and it's been operating for, I don't know, it's like 10 years or something like this, but they would sell out ranges of IP addresses to bad actors so that they could route their traffic through residential home routers. And they literally infected hundreds and hundreds of thousands of these devices
pretty
around.
Pretty much unless you were using a NIC Giga router, you were infected.
So they were the rate at which they were infecting people was like 20,000 victims a week were getting their devices essentially stolen and then resold. And they would pwn these things so that you couldn't even get them back if you wanted to, because the firmware updates were blocked on them. They just owned you. And they were stealing people's credentials. They're stealing people's crypto. People lost $1 million, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And what happened here, this particular story, is this system, SOX Escort, was shut down. All of their servers were confiscated, their DNS names. So they made millions in the time that they were out there reselling your devices for a bad actor's use. But they're actually shut down right now. The important thing to note is if you check this article out, there's a list of most represented devices. And frequent flyer, unfortunately, is D-Link, the 818 and the 850L. And another one I think we've seen a few times is like the TP Link, the Archer C20, and I think the WR841N I think were particularly popular, and the Netgear AC 1900 and the R7000 I also think I've seen a few times, and some from Zyxel. And
which will be the ones that
Vision.
just you end up with when your ISP sends you a router. Yeah.
Or you maybe bought one, for very, very, very inexpensively.
Yes.
Was off the discount
router,
rack.
please.
Yeah. So if you're still running one of these, you want to get rid of it. It's probably compromised.
Yeah. Because you are still compromised. It's just that they've taken down the botnet.
The command and control has been disassembled, but that doesn't mean you're not compromised still. Yeah. Bad. These are all ELL devices, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, stop infecting yourself.
Stop infecting yourself.
Let us move away from Insecurity Corner to Gaming Quick Hits. And first, Subnautica 2 is full of never-ending drama, and it's not even released yet, Jeremy.
It's true. Because, my God, this is one of those games that is going to go down in history for the most legal battles. And very confusingly, Crafton reached out to me to repeat the statement they'd already said, which I agreed with here, which is that they disagree with having lost the legal battle. So they weren't complaining or anything. It was just they wanted to make sure that they knew that I knew that they knew that I was being watched or something. Regardless.
What?
Because often I get in trouble occasionally when I post things. So Subnautica 2 has been and is currently the most wishlisted game on Steam right now. But Crafton, the overall publisher, got in a bit of a fight with the developer, Unknown Worlds, and they were promised like a $250 million bonus to everyone that worked on it if they reached certain goalposts, which they did, which upset Crafton. And so they sort of not only just canceled the bonus, but fired the three top execs, including Charlie Cleveland, who was the original founder of Unknown Worlds that brought us Subnautica and Frozen World. So, of course, things went to the lawyers, and it's been going back and forth. And the big argument was that the original team was like, no, it's not ready to go. We want to produce a brilliant product. We want it to be a certain size, and there's just a couple of more things that we need to do. And Crafton's like, nah, just publish it now. Just shut up, publish it now. Didn't agree each other. So the legal dispute came to a conclusion earlier this week, and it went in favor of Unknown Worlds. So the three execs that were fired are getting reinstated and get to lead the development team again. And, Crafton disagrees with this, as you would. But the thing is that they're back and immediately afterwards announced, yeah, okay, we're ready for early access in May. Because the other thing was, well, Crafton was in charge. They're like, no, early access is getting pushed off. We don't want to have to deal with this. We're in the midst of something. So we're in the midst of a suit and countersuit, but one of them has actually come to a decision, which is that the three execs that developed the game are back. The publishers who, throw money to make this happen aren't really on the hook for the bonus. They settled for like a $25 million bonus, which they added to the paychecks of some of the people that were still working for them. But you can't argue that a game is struggling when it is literally the most wish-listed game on Steam, and not 100% of the time, but has maintained that for the bloody part of a year now. They've made their money. There was no reason for this to happen apart from we want to just push it out now and make a bit more money, as opposed to we want to produce a game that Subnautica fans are not going to immediately do what we do on the internet when something just, doesn't feel quite perfect. It's not a good thing, but yeah, we overreact, and yeah, putting out Subnautica 2 that isn't even close to the level of Subnautica 1 will turn out poorly for everyone.
I just had the picture of Caesar with the thumbs down meme. That's kind of what I was picturing right there.
Beware the Ides of March, mate.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a huge legal battle. There have been a few Vampire, Duke Nukem. Occasionally, games turn into a huge legal nightmare. Unfortunately, Subnautica turned into one, but as of right now, I don't know about tomorrow, but as of right now, things are looking good.
I don't know. When you say Duke Nukem and legal battle, this isn't going to be a Duke Nukem forever situation, is it, Jeremy?
I mean, that there are games that took longer to put out than Duke Nukem 2 now. Or Duke Nukem Forever, sorry.
Can I admit to having that Subnautica game on my wish list? Can I admit
it's on mine.
Everybody's doing it. You can't be blamed.
It's been on my wish list for a long time, actually.
Like, since I could put it on my wish list, I got an email from them saying, "Hey, would you like to wish list us?" Yeah.
Was it 2 years ago? Was it like 2 years ago? Is that
something like that? Yes.
I think I played 20,
Below Zero
30
was
minutes,
fun.
Maybe an hour of the first. It was fun.
Oh, Josh, if you can, it's both fun, relaxing, and terrifying.
Oh, well, all right.
It's a lot of water.
Like sex.
Okay. Moving on to another rock, paper, shotgun story. Fallout Chicago, a DLC-sized New Vegas mod about the Brotherhood of Steel fighting a union mob, has a first demo out now. That's the name of this post. That is quite the title. Pack your bags for the Windy City.
Partially, I like this one.
I've never heard of this one
because Fallout DLCs just keep happening for much
mods?
older games. Well, yeah. Well, this is a DLC size New Vegas mod. Yeah.
At this point, they all have to be. At this point, anyone doing a mod of a Elder Scrolls game or a Fallout game, it needs to be bigger than a DLC. It needs to be insanely huge. And generally, we hear about them. This one just came out of the blue. Literally had not heard that. And I mean, it's not because I have a particular bias against the Brotherhood of Steel, who are a bunch of... But, yeah, this is very interesting. And there is, if you happen to have Vegas installed, because there are a whole bunch of mods right now that are for either Fallout 4 or Fallout Vegas, you might just happen to have it installed. The demo might be interesting, and we don't do much on the East Coast. We tend to stick to the West Coast, the deserts, or London. So this should be interesting.
And with that, Gaming Quick Hits has come to an end this week. There are just two of them.
It went by so fast.
It's really quickly.
How fast was it?
Well, they were quick hits.
Exactly.
They're designed that way.
And we are quickly moving on to Picks of the Week already. Josh,
Picks of the Week.
Do you have one prepared for us?
Yeah, for $100, 1,000-watt power supply.
Ooh.
That's a great deal. I've actually been running this ASRock Steel Legend SL1000G. It's 80 plus gold and Cybernetics Platinum. ATX 3.1, PCI 5.1. Really,
she's a wee one too, isn't she?
Solid.
She's not very long.
No, it's regular size, but it's not big. But they've done a very good job. I mean, and it comes with all kinds of stuff, every cable you could want, and a really solid PCIe, 12 by 2 by 6. Yeah, it's 12 volt 2 by 6 too, which is better.
That's what you want.
Anyway, that's what you want. I'm telling you, it's for $100 for 1,000 watts. That's a monster deal. Monster. Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you, Josh. Who's next? Jeremy, you have a pick this week, I take it.
I mean, I guess since everything sucks. But you could be like Sebastian and Brett for a bit less than they might have actually paid for it in Canada anyways. I don't know if there's a Quadcast 2 sale in the States.
Always.
But with the removable shock mount, you can get a Quadcast 2 USB microphone for a mere $160. And when they say regular price is $200, it's honestly, these guys have been selling them, and most places have been selling it for about $240. So this is technically about $80 off. And you can't return it because we don't want to know what you did to it to make it stop working. But you owe it to yourself not to have a crap microphone. Get a decent microphone. Don't depend on a headset.
That is true. That is true. Although I do prefer my volume knobs on the bottom and my tops
this is interesting.
well-rounded.
I bet you do. Yeah, I'm betting that the version 2.0, that's about the only thing that they did was move the knob.
Perhaps. Or the gain, I should say, not the volume.
Yes.
The gain. Oh, and it's pure USB-C with an adapter.
Yeah, that was a nice update because originally it was...
yeah, because, come on, seriously, we need to start
with a mini,
USB-C.
some sort of mini...
Yes. All right, well, thank you for that. Brett, what is your pick this week?
Well, Sebastian, I appreciate you actually gave a shout out to my pick like the week I couldn't be here, which was Accessories for Less, where I had recently purchased my new, to me, Denon S970H AV receiver, and I very excitedly put it in the cabinet. And like so many people, after I got it all wired up into the system, I immediately sat down and watched the first 20 minutes to 6 Underground, which is how I normally test my surround sound or my visuals and things like that. I don't know if you've watched the first 20 minutes of that till they arrive back at the boat, but it is a tour de force of visuals and audio for a blow up, shoot 'em up, car chase, action, kind of film. Anyway, I happened to notice after that run that I couldn't even touch the top of it. It was so hot. So what I did is I did a little research and found out there are better ways than making your electronics suffer the heat. So for your hot new AV receiver, maybe it's a little too hot. Get yourself one of these maybe. This is AC Infinity's. I use the front exhaust because I have it placed in a cabinet with a solid back. So this is a 17-inch front exhaust system with smart cooling. Allows you to set the fan, and it sets the temperatures. It'll actually alarm if it gets too hot, and you can set it to like a little bit of what's called hysteresis at 2 degrees or 4 degrees, so that it doesn't constantly switch off and on. It's a reasonably smart device, and it runs very cool and quietly. And I ran it pretty hard the other night, and it kept it under 85 degrees instead of too hot to touch. So pretty good. And it's only 1.5 inches tall.
There's always this balancing act that companies have to play because with high-end AV or audio, you have to have a certain presentation. So the quality of the box, and the fact that it has to be the exact, component width, it's 17 inches wide.
Yes.
It has to cost at least 3 digits or it won't be taken seriously by the people putting it on a $1,200 receiver. So,
yeah,
but
and
really,
a high
this is
3
a box.
digits.
This is a box with a couple PC fans in it and a little temperature sensor.
It has 3 fans and a temperature sensor, and they route the
a
heat.
Noctua fan and just set it on top of your receiver and just.
You could, but it doesn't have that presence.
It doesn't.
You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't have a $139 presence.
No, it is somewhat expensive for what it does.
But honestly,
is it too much to ask for an AV unit with a blower? Nice little scoop.
Certain devices do come with those.
I think that this is actually a pretty fair price for what it is. It's got a nice looking screen on the front. It'll look right at home in the cabinet with your fancy AVR. So,
And it does.
Oh, I've
it looks
seen
exactly like it's a part of it.
lap coolers for that price too. So
I know this seems foolish and definitely, what a first world problem, but it is actually a real problem.
How many receivers actually have active cooling? Mine doesn't. It's all
not many,
passive. There's a couple of heat sinks in there, but they get really hot.
And Denon
forget about it if there's
recommends
dust in there.
6 inches on top and 10 inches or 8 inches to the side or something like that. And I couldn't do it in that cabinet. So
Okay.
have you considered going topless?
I could drill holes in the back. That wouldn't be acceptable either.
Drill holes. They just
No.
There's 2 screws on the side. Pull the case off. Just run it.
just
like
pull-
Exactly.
Just run it nude.
Topless.
Put a little Noctua fan in there, blowing across the heatsink. You'd be
Have it
amazed.
running and run your tongue over it. So
Yeah.
That's
Especially
so hot.
over the capacitors.
yeah.
So they're working. All
Yeah,
right,
it is.
don't actually do that. Kent, you have a pick this week?
I do have a pick this week. I thought that perhaps we should each spend about $24, free shipping, and show our pride in our OS overlords microslop. This is an Etsy store. It's a fantastic shirt with a wonderful blue screen message that Sebastian probably shouldn't blow up on the show, but $24 for a microslop shirt.
Oh. Are you sure that's not AI generated? Because I kind of want that, but it looks bad.
Thank you for that.
Please tell me it's real.
My pick this week is partly because of a journey I've been taking into the world of shareware by watching this excellent YouTube channel called DOS Storm. Think LGR from like 10 years ago, I would say. That kind of vibe. DOS Storm has been doing a series on shareware games lately, including these astonishing collections called Galaxy of Games from...
No, I want you to click on the third one there.
Learning with Xena.
Yeah, I really need to know.
I've watched this video. I think I've watched most of the videos on his channel now.
Inquiring minds.
It's a Xena Warrior Princess edutainment software that he found somewhere.
Okay, well,
I think.
Wow.
I see Adam West, and
He was talking about how the show was campy, kind of like the '60s Batman, but they were all in on it. They seemed
that's
to
why I
enjoy
liked it.
So if you're interested in watching, I don't know how to describe it, just kind of really laid back videos by a fellow Michigander who's into the retro nostalgia scene, check out DOS Storm. He's very entertaining.
Yeah, not to be confused with Das Sturm, which will take you down a whole different path.
And on that note, we're gonna bring up the soft YouTube music library jazz music and say farewell. And thank you for your patience in waiting for episode 860. It took an extra week because I'm in the process of moving to this lovely empty space here that has no furniture in it yet. There's an airbed behind me, which is helping a little bit with the room noise.
But not enough. But some.
No, it doesn't sound great.
Are you going to mount a copper thing to your wall?
I don't miss the copper pipe. I don't like
Please
the copper
do.
pipe. I don't want to. But what I'm going to do, and
You might want to.
Brett, you'll appreciate this. I am so far on the side of wired backhaul now. I'm not willing to go back
Oh God,
to
yeah.
wireless backhaul ever again.
No.
Don't.
I've been trying to figure out how to best serve 2 floors, and I think the only way is to go outside the house and then back in. So I'm going to do
Power
some
line.
PVC conduit.
Do you have old cable?
There's old cable. I have to see if it goes upstairs. Good idea.
Why not go to
Just
Mocha?
pull it through
Try
Yeah, Mocha
Mocha.
works.
Seriously, Mocha.
there. For wired backhaul, I could use it through old coax.
Yeah, you can actually
Yes.
get 2.5G over Mocha.
Really? But this
Yep.
is probably only
Yes.
like RG59. It's so old.
That's what it will work
Really?
over. I
Okay.
swear.
All right.
RG59.
What it's
All
for.
right.
I
will
actually
look into
did it.
this. I will look into
I did
this.
it. Yeah, it actually
Never heard
works.
about this.
I have a couple of Mocha units. I could send them to you if you
That's
want.
okay.
No,
I'll
Ryan
look
did
into it.
that
I was looking at a roll
Way back in the day,
Cat
my
7
brother
on.
did that in a 70s Montreal home. Yeah. And yeah, the wiring is acceptable. It's not knob and tube, but it's not great. And can still get 2.5.
All right. Well,
I've just wondered about the guy with the sign outside Sebastian's window the whole show.
That's.
Hey, we weren't supposed to mention that. Thought we agreed we wouldn't tell him.
Either way, however I get internet upstairs and not just like sketchy wireless, then I will actually have a proper office space in a carpeted room without all this room noise, and start actually working and podcasting up there.
Hey,
In a
it
way I
really
haven't
worked
done.
for AI in space. You got that space to echo very nicely.
Yes, that's true. I just went off mic.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's bad. That's not good.
No, I'm trying to talk quietly close to the mic
Yeah.
for this reason.
Talk-
So
Yeah,
Tuck right
sounds
in,
great
tuck
when
right
you're up close.
thank you, Kent. All right, good night, everybody.
Good
See you next
night.
week.
Good night.